Welcome to the Business and Brews podcast, where our mission is to highlight local businesses and shed light on different industries. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Business and Brews show. My name, as always, is Ryansmeltz, and today I am super excited to have Dustin with me. Dustin runs a coffee company. So, Dustin, just really quick, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I own Red, White, and Badass Brew. We sell premium coffee, man. Coffee lovers around the nation.
That's awesome, man. So Dustin, I know you're a veteran. I see your thin blue line flag in the background as well. So obviously supporting law enforcement and having military involvement, it's not too difficult to connect the dots on how someone would get involved in such a caffeinated business. But I'm always curious of people's origin stories. So if you would take us back, maybe military or right around that point, and kind of how you got into the coffee business.
Absolutely, man. I got medically retired out of the military back in 2013. And now I had to kind of reinvent the wheel. I had to go like, what now? What do I do with my life? So it took a little bit, some struggles, ups and downs, like everybody gets out and we all go through. It doesn't matter how you get out. None of us have really a good game plan of where to go and how to get there. So I knew I wanted to be a business owner, and I went and opened a construction business and did construction and did all right. And construction did pretty well. And I closed that down in 2021, the beginning of it. Being out here in San Diego and California, you can imagine the struggles small business owners have out here. It's not a business-friendly state at all. So I closed it down and wanted to start something new. So then I started a solar cleaning, solar cleaning, window cleaning, and gutter insulation business. It was just me, and had fun doing it, and had that business for about 6 months, and then sold it. And now I sat there, and now I'm just kind of like, what do I do? Twiddling my thumbs, don't have anything to do, and started kind of peddling with coffee. And then it kind of just grew from there and just kind of fell into it. I was just like, all right, well, I love coffee. I'm tired of shitty coffee. And so I started just going down the old checklist of a business plan, man, and going, all right, well, I got to get this thing started, and a lot of trials and tribulations because I've never done an e-commerce business. And so I spent a lot of money making mistakes, and that's kind of how I got into it, man. I didn't go into no hills or no tribe backpacking and found this monkey crapping out some coffee beans, I just kind of just fell into it and then started loving it. And I really love what I do. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. So I'm curious. So it sounds like, you're a little bit of an entrepreneur at heart, running your third business at this stage. So I'm interested to hear, as you're getting into the coffee business, you mentioned, making mistakes. So if you were to kind of expose yourself, or let us take a peek under the hood, if you would, what were some of those mistakes? And more, I'm kind of really interested in the lessons that you were able to take away from those.
Man, be careful if you want to peek underneath my hood, man. That's that's a dangerous statement out here. It is. Well, okay. For one, e-commerce businesses, which I didn't really know. It wasn't my name wasn't originally Red, White, and Badass Brew. It was Basic Badass Coffee Company. because I like pumpkin spice. And so I was going to do a spinoff of that and how that kind of grew. So this is how it kind of grew really into a coffee business. Is my buddies freaking called me basic bitch. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that on the air or not, but you know, they call me basic bitch because I drank pumpkin spice. So I was just like, all right. So I made stupid videos of it on my Facebook, and I made one, and it went viral for me. Like 350 people watched it. Oh. You know, and I'm over here scratching my head, going, "Why in the hell would somebody watch this video? This is stupid. All I'm doing is eating pumpkin spice stuff and giving it my review and looking like a pig online." You know what I mean? So anyway, so then I just kept doing it, and it just kept growing. And so that's how my original name came. Well, I didn't do my due diligence and see if that name was taken. No, I mean, you're probably thinking, yeah, that name was probably taken. Yeah, it was not taken. But there's a coffee company, probably shouldn't say their name. Another coffee, it was with another word, badass, in it, and of Hawaii. And they sent me a letter of cease and desist. Oh. And so my first reaction was like, all right, well, let me fire up this OZ Rocks right here and get a picture of my ass with some lips on it and say, kiss it, you know. But after sitting on it for a couple of days, I was like, you know what? I probably shouldn't send that out. They are kind of right. And, you know, they've been around for 30 years. So I don't want to take anybody's goodwill and, you know, trying to go off of somebody else's back. So then I started cramming. Man, what's a good name? And then I was like, all right, man, I'm just going to go with Red, White, and Badass Brew. That represents me, represents the people who I'm looking to buy my coffee. Man, my core values, man, the Red, White, and Brew, man. So I went with it, man. And I did the right channel this time, got a lawyer, and they looked it up, said, yeah, you're fine. Go ahead. All that nine, you know, all the 9 yards for that crap. And then did that. And then so my first mistake is not doing my due diligence on my name. My second mistake is on my business plan. I was going to go open up a coffee shop. Well, I highly underestimated how much it was going to cost me to open up a coffee shop. So it was going to, huh?
So that's always fun.
Oh, it was an eye opener, and people are like, "What, man? You've owned a couple of businesses." Like, yeah, but I live in California, guys, so it is tricky sometimes, man. Everybody has their hand in my freaking pot, you know, yeah. Grabbing my beans, and so I'm over here. So I started kind of going down that road, and figured out that's not feasible. I'm not about to put $65,000 to $100,000 in this business. You know, starting out, because you never know how you're going to do. Yeah. So then that was my second roadblock. Well, I consider myself a problem solver, you know? So I'm like, all right, well, that's a problem. How do I solve it? So then I'm like, you know what? There's people out here that have these businesses already. So let me go see if somebody is a veteran or a patriot or something like that that's doing what I'm trying to get done. And so that's what I did. I found a place that, you know, roasts their own coffee and see if they want to collaborate. And so they collaborate. We collaborated, and going great. And it's just you know, just a small step to me opening up my own. And so, and you know, we're both on the same terms. And I can't really complain. And so that was the second biggest hurdle. And then I started getting into the e-commerce world. And anybody who's been in the e-commerce world, wow, that is a tough market. Yeah. And I spent money hand over fist on just making wrong decisions, man. Didn't have a direction to go to. Yeah. I didn't know anybody else who was doing this kind of online business. You know, that in my inner circle, I have a lot of people in construction or service-based. And then I met a few people, and they're kind of helping me out and kind of guiding me. But it's an extremely tough market. Coffee is a tough market. 2, being online and not having a storefront, even tougher, because now you got to get through all that noise and get people to actually look at you long enough to say, I want to try their coffee.
Yeah.
And so that is part of it. Now I have premium coffee. I have really good coffee. Now it's got to get people to try it.
Yeah.
And so finding the right people to team up with and to actually market my online company has been challenging. And it's still challenging to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hasn't stopped.
No, I get it, man. E-commerce is one of those things I think a lot of people don't realize. There's so many different industries inside of that industry. Because you have the people who build the websites, the people who do the SEO, the people who do the marketing, the emails, the people who do the advertising, the social media. Then you've got all the different sales channels, the requirements, and when you kind of break that all down, as a business owner, maybe when you're starting out, you're literally doing all of that. Which can oftentimes be very time consuming and somewhat overwhelming. And as you progress, then you have to outsource it and get other people to do it or other companies to do it. And that is just a big, giant invitation to more mistakes, because maybe you hire a marketing company that doesn't understand coffee, and you end up with bad marketing material. So
you're a coffee company. It looks like you're selling sheets of paper,
So I'm definitely interested, because that was some really good information there. I mean, there's so many business owners that have been doing this a long time. I mean, you're a pretty good example yourself. You own 3 companies and didn't really think about checking the name before you got into it. I feel like the risk there was a little higher because, you're getting into a coffee business, whereas, maybe construction businesses aren't as popular, or the construction.
Localized.
Huh?
It's localized. I mean, construction, you're going to be in that city or whatever surrounding the city, and when you're selling coffee nationwide, you're everywhere. So it's not just checking one database. Like I looked it up. So I did look it up in the California database, but kind of lapsed in saying, well, I'm not just selling California.
Yeah.
I'm selling it nationwide. And I laugh at myself. So I laugh at myself often.
So moving into that space, like going nationwide, especially moving from construction and 2 businesses that were pretty hands-on, like what was that like? What was going through your head? Like, okay, so I used to do this thing where I have to physically be present, and now I do this thing that's just in front of the entire United States. What effect did that have on you?
Confidence. Confidence is one thing. Going into a business and being confident that you're going to succeed is one thing. I mean, you've got to go in there with a clear head, a clear mind, and a great attitude. And the old cliche in the military, man, never give up. Don't fucking give up, man. Keep pushing forward, and you'll make it through the noise. It's just it takes a little bit of time. It's an easy thing to conceptualize, but it's a tough thing to execute, because you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, I'm wearing every hat, and it took me a little while to figure out, like, okay, well, you figure out your shortcomings real quick, and at first I was like, man, I'm a great marketer. I turned this construction business into a multi-million-dollar business. I'm great at marketing. I can go do anything. Maybe you're great at going to events, shaking hands, and saying, hi guys, here I am. And I was great at doing that. But now I'm going to events, but in a different capacity than where I was at before. Now I'm going to these events going, hey guys, give up the thing that you love the most. I'm not talking about your children. I'm talking about your coffee in the morning, and try my coffee. Didn't realize how hard that was going to be for some people to do it. It's like asking a drug addict, hey man, why don't you give up your drugs for this new drug over here? Might not get you as high, but it might be a little bit better. I don't know. And that's kind of what people, are when they think about it, it's like, man, I've been drinking Folgers for 40 years. Yeah. I don't know if I can move away from Folgers. And then once I taste it, I've turned people who don't even drink coffee into coffee drinkers. With my number one seller, it's called Whiskey Business. Mm. And, I was at events and the guy didn't even drink coffee. And he was just like, all right, man, I'll try some. He came back for a second cup. I was like, you should calm down. Like, you're going to be bouncing off the walls with this, man. It's freshly roasted and all that. And so that's what's kind of differentiate me from some other these coffee roasters or not roasters, these coffee companies is it's not sitting on the shelf for months and all that good stuff. Or, the beans are sitting in a container. It's freshly made once it's ordered.
So I heard you mention the name of that one, Whiskey Business. So how do you come up with the names and the flavors, and like what does you don't have to tell me everything that you have, but what does your product offering look like?
So really I just start kind of penciling down some names, man. I don't really I go into it. Usually I build my flavor first and then go, all right, what kind of name am I going to name this thing? Or sometimes I've built a label and I'm just like, man, I just don't have anywhere to put that thing yet. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to set it aside. And just trying to come up with something different, man. Something that doesn't look like it's been on the shelf forever. That's been, something that's fresh, some new, fresh designs. And then I just start playing with it. And then eventually just kind of unfolds into just a pretty fabulous design, really. And everybody who's bought it or who's been at a show or an event has been like, man, marketing spot on with designs. And then they keep coming back to buy more coffee. So now that's how I know I have good coffee. If everybody just told me and never buy any, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I don't have good coffee. But it's just sitting in front of a computer, man, and going, all right, this is what I got. And then come up with designs or come up with coffee flavors. A little bit more difficult. That's a little bit more difficult. So I trial and error. And then when I truth be told, I'm not a flavored coffee guy. And I've got 4 or 5 flavors in my roast right now. And they've got to be good. So there's just going, all right, going in there, kind of like a mad scientist and make it till it's perfect. Yeah. And then slap that label on it and hopefully somebody buys it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the number one thing you mentioned that probably helps most businesses that either have a consumable, topical, or replenish type product is free samples. So getting out there to the events and, for you having the coffee brewed, we had Sean Bass on who does Cardinal Beard Company, and he's got little testers that he puts out. So, and he recently told me about how, the guys will try it, but the girls want to smell it. And so I thought that was interesting because, kind of like you're talking about, some people aren't coffee drinkers, but maybe their significant other is. So maybe they don't want to try the coffee, but they smell it or they see the label and they're like, hey, my husband would like it. He drinks coffee. So I don't
give out free samples.
What's that?
I don't give out free samples.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't give out free samples.
Tell me about that.
So when I'm at events, I'm percolating the coffee. I'm brewing this coffee, and it's a smell. The smell alone drives them to to where I'm at. And they're like, I smelled this delicious. And I always put whiskey business out because it's my number one seller and always draws people in every single time. And people are like, that's amazing. That smells amazing. Let me try some. I'm like, yeah, sure. It'll cost you whatever it costs, $350, $350 or $4, or something like that. Actually, I think it's cheaper than that at the events. And then, boom, they buy it. And the beautiful thing about the events is I usually take my oldest daughter with me, and she shoos me away. She's like, go, get out of here. Go talk to everybody like you like to do. And I'm like, all right. And she runs it. She runs a show back there behind the tent, man. And she does a fabulous job. And so it draws people in. The smell alone draws people in. And then they usually buy it and go from there. And then I don't have it right now, but I'm working on cold brew and canning cold brew. So once that's up and running, that'll be a different game changer. But I make iced coffee just at my events I go to. And then the people come back usually for a second one.
Yeah, that smell itself would do it for me. I'll tell you what. So we kind of heard a little bit about you stumbling uphill to get started, and now it sounds like you've got a pretty good staff between you and your daughter, at least.
That's it.
Family business, but when you take a look at how far you've come in just 6 months, which I think is phenomenal overall, what would you say one of your biggest challenges is right now, and what are you doing to try and overcome that?
Oh man, that's still one of my biggest challenges, to get people to my website. That is probably the toughest part. Again, it's the toughest part about getting people to the website, because I don't have a hard location. I don't have that physical location. Yeah. But I've branched out and started selling my product into people's stores. So now like-minded people are carrying my product, and they're really doing well carrying my product. So it's not an unproven coffee. It's just it's just getting people out there to try it, get people nationwide to try it. And it's small steps. I wish I could wake up tomorrow and I'm a nationwide brand, but I'm not. And it takes time. It takes time for people to recognize a new brand, to recognize, try something new, but it's not necessarily about the coffee. The coffee is my vehicle. It's my mission that's really important to me. And that's most of all of kind of why I started it. And what I try to incorporate in each business that I own is to, one, help out our veterans and provide jobs to veterans and support the kind of as I grow, what I really want to do is hire veterans that have PTSD issues and really are just trying to get back on their feet and get back to work, so they can, feel that camaraderie again, and hopefully be a staple for them and a mentor, whether with what they want to do in life or not. Because that's a big part of, as a veteran, that's huge. That's huge to me. And if I didn't have somebody to help me out starting a business, I don't know where I would be at today, or getting back on my feet. I have really good friends that helped me kind of get back on my feet and started this whole thing out as I got hired. A buddy was just like, dude, you need a job. I was like, yeah, I do, man. And I was a handyman. So he hired me on to be a handyman. And that's kind of how everything just kind of escalated.
Yeah.
And, if it wasn't for that moment, that one guy helping me out, I don't know where I'd be at today.
Yeah, I feel that, man. Hardcore. I just held a conversation with a great dude. Nicky Morris is his name. He calls himself the veteran coach, or that's the name of his company. And we talked a lot about that, finding your purpose once you leave the service, and basically how he helps veterans do that. So writing a plan and following the steps and kind of filling that void I think a lot of what is shoved down our throats while we're in the service is structure. You know, what time you wake up, do PT, go to work, get done. You know, hard work and play hard over and over, and then you get out, and it's almost like somebody just slammed on the brakes.
Yeah, it all ends,
and it's screeching halt. So I think it's awesome that you were, you know, you had that help. You were able to fill that void. Definitely finding your own 100 mile an hour path there with it, you know, your excellent co-worker / coffee concierge there, your daughter, and you running around and shaking babies and kissing hands. Where do you see it going long term? Like you started this, you have a purpose, you have a mission. What is your, say, 5-year plan or goal?
Well, my 5-year plan is, I mean, it's tough to say for a 5-year plan. I did baby steps and a 1 and a 3-year plan. You know, my 1-year plan is to at least get into a shop of myself and start doing it all myself, and hire a couple people, and get into the K-Cup industry, and also the cold brew, canning cold brew, and getting that to shops. And my 3-year plan is to hopefully grow big enough where I can have another facility, middle of the United States, Oklahoma preferably, because it's right there in the middle, and open up a facility there. So that way I can make this kind of, you know, the price point of not cheaper, but more cost effective for people on the East Coast to be able to get the coffee. Yeah. You know, because we're talking about trials and tribulations. Shipping's a huge part of it too. You know, and cost of product keeps sky rising. You know, but my 5-year plan is at least hire my 1-year plan is at least hire 3 or 4 guys, and my 3-year plan is to have at least a fleet of people that I'm hiring and hopefully employing. Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
And keeping a family business, you know.
Put everybody to work.
Try to. I mean, it's definitely doable. Out here in San Diego, there's a couple of laws that are coming out, or not San Diego, California, that could affect that, but it's easy enough, man. I'll just move my facility next state over. I'm good.
Yeah. I talked to plumbing, electrical, and home remodeling company owner last night for an upcoming episode, and she is 3 out of her 4 kids work for them. We're probably talking like 20, 22 years old at this point, but I said, you can't get the 4th one on board, and she was like, no. I thought that was pretty funny, but you know, you get through your first year. You know well and good that that's definitely a little bit of a speed bump, but you're headed strong into your 3-year plan. So I'm sure you'll feel pretty good once you kind of hit those checkpoints. But I guess my last question before we move into the next segment is I think you already mentioned this, but what is your top selling coffee?
Yeah. So my top selling for flavored is Whiskey Business. Okay. It's vanilla, caramel, and whiskey flavored. It's good. It's a good coffee. And then my second, actually, it just came into my second. It's called FU California. And so, and the crazy part about that, it's not even on my website yet. And it's already is my second one. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to get that on my website, man. And it cracks me up, man. It's funny. And people love it. It's a great coffee. He's a great label, So you go to my Instagram, man. You go to my Instagram, check them out. They're on there.
That's awesome. I just think it's funny you're in California and you sell coffee called FU California. But anyways, jumping into our questions we've had brewing, which it sounds like we got a decent introduction to who Dustin is. But when you're not brewing coffee or coming up with your next business idea or asking your daughter how the coffee business is going, what do you like to do for fun?
Man, I love the outdoors. I like paddleboarding, scuba diving, downhill mountain biking. Man, hunting. That's off-roading. Pretty much anything I can get outdoors, man. Get me out of some walls. Get me outdoors. I love water. I feel like I was born with gills. But I can't swim like Michael Phelps, so who knows? Flotation devices and beer are required.
Absolutely. I'm a pretty big fan of the water myself. Don't get to go as often as I would like, but I think I'm in a pretty good position because I always tell people that the only thing better than owning a boat is knowing somebody that does. So I got a couple of those under my belt. With one of them is a permanent invite that I unfortunately don't get to take him up on too often because he's in Texas and I'm in North Carolina. But we make it happen once in a while. But
man, North Carolina, that's a different beast, man. I did some training in South Carolina, and I was like, man. I got short hair, and that started to curl.
It's a good time, except when it's supposed to be 70 and you wake up and it's 30.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. That is true.
Very confusing.
Yeah, very. Well, that's a different topic.
So my next question, Dustin, is what whether it's content you're consuming, maybe a podcast or a video or something you've seen recently that was motivating, or a book that you're reading or listening to. What content are you currently consuming?
That's right now I'm not consuming too much, man. I try to put put the phone down and electronics down for a bit, and started actually my master's degree, and organizational leadership. So it's consuming school, and then
counts.
Yeah, right. I mean, and then I took up Krav Maga.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I need to start doing something physical. And, that way it give me time not to drink beer, or some whiskey at night and do something else. But if I do pick up a book, man, it's 98% of the time it's going to be about something. It's going to be learning. I can't really just do nonfiction books, fiction books. It's got to be something to do with learning. So it's either going to be something with business, because I'm always intrigued about business. Same thing with podcast. Other than, I hate to say it on a different podcast, but Joe Rogan, he spits it out. He's got an ear. Or I do some kind of motivating podcast or something like that. But I've kind of stopped it since January and, really practiced getting Krav Maga and my bow, getting really efficient for bow, man, for bow hunting.
Nice. That's awesome. So one book I brought up to somebody the other day I really like is the marshmallow test. So it's actually about that study they did, and it talks about delayed gratification. So I really like the premise as well as I like the study that they conducted. And I think it's fun just listening to the different scenarios of where they put the kids in a room by themselves or in a group. They give them one marshmallow now, you can have two later. They did it with marshmallows, M&Ms, pretzels, cake, brownies, cookies, all different kinds of stuff. And then the techniques that the children use, because they're children, to either one, succumb to their instant gratification need, and they just eat the fucking marshmallow, or to practice self-control. Everything from, flipping the plate upside down and putting it over top of the treat so that they can't see it, to going and standing in the corner and like pinching themselves and counting on their fingers until the time is up so they can get the second one later. But I strongly encourage everyone to read that book. I like that one. I also like, if you're a fan of motorcycles, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which is basically associating life lessons with working on your motorcycle. It's a very, very, very interesting book. So my third question, and hopefully I don't trip you up too hardcore on this, but if you could have a beer or coffee with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
God, you said that question, and I was just like, man, that is tough. That's a extremely tough question, and I don't. Man, one thing about me is I'm not hung up on people, man. I'm more of a like, hey, dude, you get what you get, and you don't get what you get, and I'm not a big celebrity guy, but it's not going to be a very popular answer, probably. Well, maybe it depends on what side you're on, right? And too bad it was a side, but I was always intrigued by freaking Donald Trump, man.
Yeah, always
intrigued by that guy back when. What was that? What was the show he had?
The Apprentice.
Yep, The Apprentice, man. When that stupid thing came out, that was like junk TV. I was like, man, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, you're teaching people about business. I just think that guy would be a wealth of knowledge, even though I think his books are shit. But
I think my introduction to Donald Trump was probably The Simpsons. I was like, who is that guy? Oh, he's real. And then
yeah. Actually, and you know what? There's not even. One of the smartest guys I know is one of my best friends, man, about business, and so I get to drink coffee with him all the time. There's two guys, and
cut out the middleman right there. Just go direct to the source.
Yeah, I mean, they are. When you're having some struggles, man, and I call them up, they give me an ear, and not only that, but they give me a direction. And that's what that's what I really encourage people to do, is surround yourself by like-minded individuals, because they will bring you up. And never be the smartest person in the room. Because you won't learn anything.
I agree with that. Last question, and probably the most important question you're going to get asked on this podcast, Dustin, is whether somebody wants to think about starting their own business, their own coffee company, maybe getting in touch with you to collaborate, or they want to buy coffee, which is a really important thing here. Where online can people find you?
Well, you can find me at redwhiteandbadassbrew.com. You can email me at info@redwhiteandbadassbrew.com. You can find me on Instagram. Guess the name, Red, White, and Badass Brew. You can hit me up on Facebook. You can hit me up on YouTube. Or you can call my phone. It's 619-818-8683. If I don't answer, leave a message. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But I'm more than willing to help out other like-minded people, man. And especially veterans. Veterans are looking to get out there and get in business, man. I will point them in the right direction.
Well, that's awesome, man.
It's important, man. I love it when I see a veteran succeed. Yeah. You know, I'm partial. Everybody has their niche, and I'm partial to veterans. Yeah.
I totally get it. That makes sense. People like us always having each other's back. But yeah, man. So definitely going to put your website and all that information in the show notes. Of course, I tag everyone. So you get a nice little Facebook stalk from me so that I can make sure that you're tagged and your business is tagged in all the creative I put out prior to each episode. But before I close us out, I just want to say thanks for hopping on here, Dustin. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to sit and chat with me for just a little bit.
Absolutely, Ryan. I really appreciate you, man. I really do. Really appreciate you doing this and putting this on. You know,
yeah, man.
So, I thought that was amazing.
Awesome. So once I hit stop, you can hang out for a second if you want. Always got time to chat. But ladies and gentlemen, you have heard of the official California coffee company, veteran owned and operated, that has the one and only FU California coffee on the market. So if you're not headed there already to buy yours, then you should be. Click the link in the show notes. Most importantly, leave us a 5-star review. It helps put the podcast at the top of the charts so people know that this is what people are listening to find out about businesses, small local businesses, and businesses run all across the United States. So listen in, tell your friends, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, whether it is Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and make sure, most importantly, to tell your friends to subscribe as well. My name is Ryan Smeltz. Dustin, thanks again so much for being on here, man.
Thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate it.
And I will see all of you on the next episode.
This has been the Business and Brews Show, hosted by yours truly, Ryan Smeltz. Edited and produced by Ryan